Hello, today I will be speaking of how our bodies use glucose to form lactate, and then how our bodies actually use the lactate that is produced in this process. Okay, as we consume food, our body um, takes the glucose from the food that we eat, and it it enters our bloodstream. And from there, our it goes to our muscles, where our muscles start to break down the glucose, and starting with the Cori cycle, and, and during the Cori cycle, it uses the process of glycolysis to uh, break down glucose into glycogen. And from there, the glycogen is broken down aerobically, meaning with the use of oxygen, or anaerobically, meaning without the use of oxygen. Um, during during this process, the glycogen comes in contact with uh, NAD, ion, um, 2 ADP, and some phosphate ions. And during this process of glycolysis, it forms uh, 2 pyruvate NADH, 8 ATP, and water. During this process, the glycogen can be broken down aerobically um, to form pyruvate, which is then broken down using the Krebs cycle to produce ATP, which, depending on the process that is used, it produces anywhere from 34 to 38 ATP, which ATP is what our muscles use to do work. From there, our if it's done anaerobically, the pyruvate um, starts the lactic acid fermentation, where the NADH that is produced from uh, glycolysis is then broken back down into NAD, NAD ion and hydrogen ions. Um, from there, the pyruvate um, is then broken down uh, using those using that to form lactate, which then the lactate then travels to the liver, where it is processed further. As the lactate arrives at the liver, it begins a process called gluconeogenesis, which um, it it basically starts to break down the lactate um, and form uh, glucose. During this process, though, it takes um, 6 ATP that to form the glucose from the lactate. Once the glucose is um, formed, it re-enters the blood stream and goes back to the muscles to be used again to form ATP, or and to work. As like when we start to do exercise, there's plenty of oxygen and energy to convert the glucose to pyruvate and ultimately into ATP. However, as exercise continues to increase, or continues, the intensity from that causes lactate to form, and as lactate is formed, it, like I said earlier, it goes to the liver to be converted back into glucose. Um, this is this is good, actually, because it provides the energy that our muscles need as our as energy gets consumed, and it converts the lactate back into glucose and gives us the energy that we need to continue on with exercise. at exercise's highest intensity, or as it continues to, to go on, are as I stated before, it takes 6 ATP to form the lactate back into glucose, and uh, as the process to convert it back to glucose uses more energy, the lactate, we start to run out of energy, and lactate actually um, begins to form more so and not be able to be handled by the converted back into glucose as readily. Well, as I've been talking about the lactate, you're probably wondering what the difference is between lactate and lactic acid is. Well, to answer this, you have to know the difference between what is an acid and what have to know what an acid is. Essentially, an acid is a chemical that has a hydrogen ion that it can donate to other materials. As in the case with lactic acid, as the lactic acid loses its additional hydrogen ion, it gets converted back to lactate, and therefore that's how the lactate is formed in this process. As it loses its hydrogen ion, it goes back to its base form. This process is actually beneficial in our bodies because it uses the lactate to be able to keep our muscles from injuring themselves during exercise. This process continues on, like I said, until exhaustion starts to set in, where this is essentially where our body is not able to process the lactate and this is where what becomes as the lactate threshold is basically exhaustion sets in. So now you know how our body uses glucose to form lactate and gets the energy it needs to do work and exercise, and how lactate is actually used in our body, which is as both during exercise and through keeping our muscles safe. Thank you, and have a great day.